Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Dark Shady, bringing you a Marksmanship Hunter guide for the patch 10.05. Briefly going over talents, builds, stat priority, pets, race, all of that, and everything will be in the description below as far as timestamps and everything. I've been making this is my second or third attempt at this video. Every time I've made it, it's been over an hour, so I'm going to really try to lower this down to a more time-appropriate video. So let's just go ahead and get into it. The talents there, as of right now, with the removal of double tap, there's several different kind of talent builds you can go here. This is just kind of my main build at the moment. A couple things that I want to highlight. I'm not going to go over each and every talent, just kind of the key things. So biggest thing with marksman, man, people immediately look at lone wolf and say, okay, lone wolf, marksman doesn't need a pet. Well, in PvP, I really just recommend a pet almost every single encounter. So I don't run lone wolf. So that ties into the left side of the tree here. So the big thing here, right now I'm trying out Sentinel Owl. That's something that I've seen some really good hunters use. I'm giving this a go, but normally my talents I don't normally use Sentinel Owl. And so normally you would see me run something kind of like this, is kind of what I would normally run. Getting rid of Sentinel Owl, and then running Tune Natural Mending, Tune Pathfinder. So the big thing on this tree is you want to make sure you have Tar Trap, that's a must. Concussive Shot, that's a must. Counter Shot, that's a must. The entrapment with Tar Trap is so big. So basically what will happen is anytime you throw your Tar Trap out on an enemy, it will root them for 3 seconds. That's so big. Marksman's, just like with every other hunter spec, it's so squishy. Melee want to train you all day long. That talent is so clutch in keeping the melee off of you. Improved traps goes along with that, with your, reducing the cooldown of your tar trap. Also reduces the cooldown of your freezing trap, which is kind of your main thing as a hunter as far as setting up kills is concerned. Survival of the Fittest is new to Dragonflight. That's going to be our wall. It's going to be one of our primary defensives. So the beautiful thing about this wall, it's typically a 20% wall, but you can take Nature's Endurance, which makes it a 40% wall. So, you're caught in the Spirit Bastion, you can go ahead and wall. You have a rogue that's opening up on you, uses Death Mark, you can wall. It's a 3-minute cooldown still, but it's still really clutch to have that. Tranq Shot, to me, that is a no-brainer. This is great against any class in the game, to be honest with you, for the most part. But Resto Druids, Preservation Evokers, this is just such a fantastic talent. This just removes an enrage effect or a buff from them. So you're talking any hots, you're talking divine protection if you can get it, you're talking freedom if they're not running the undispellable freedom. It can remove a lot. If your healer gets mind controlled, you can trank shot your healer to get rid of mind control. A lot of cool things you can do with that. That is a must here. Intimidation versus a high explosive trap, no brainer. Intimidation's better. High explosive trap is actually really good and fun, especially on like Blade's Edge Arena or like against melee. Like it's really fun to use that, but intimidation is just so clutch. So what you can do, man, and this is how I land most of my traps too. So every 1 minute you can stun the healer and throw a trap. Okay, it guarantees the trap go. And then we talked about the trap is just such an important pivotal part about your marksmanship hunter burst. Kind of setting up these traps. It's really good for any hunter spec. So having an Intim is just a must there. Explosive Trap's not bad, but Intim just outweighs it. Scatter versus Binding. 85% of my matchups, I'm going to be taking Scatter Shot. It's such a great ability. And so, like, let's say this guy right here that I'm marking, let's say he's a warrior, okay? And I'm attacking the monk. This guy's the monk, okay? And I'll only break this, that way he's not frozen. But we're attacking the monk. We're attacking the monk. The DK is getting warrior is getting really close to me. I can scatter this guy, right? And I can throw a tar trap at his feet. So he's scattered for 4 seconds, and then boom, now he's rooted for 3 after that. At the end of the root, I can throw my steel trap, which I'll get into in a minute, to root him again. Scatter is so clutch for getting players off of you. It's good for stopping casts on warlocks. It's good for, I really just throw scatter out on the enemy or the off DPS or whoever's not the kill target as much as possible. It will remove dots. So if you're playing with an Affliction Lock, they'll hate you. If you're playing with a rogue or Assassination Rogue, they'll hate you for using it. But it's just so clutch. You also can, and most hunters will advise against this, but pro hunters do this all the time. Let's say Intimidation's on cooldown, okay? Intimidation's on cooldown, but Trap's up. I'm not going to wait the 1 minute to trap again, okay? So one thing you can do is you can either slow them with Concussive Shot, which this ability should be up all of the time. Newbie hunters, I see, make this mistake. Concussive Shot should be up frequently. It's a crazy 50% slow. You either can concussive shot and trap them, you can tar trap them if you can, to root them to trap them, or this is the least ideal way, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. You can scatter them into a trap, okay? So the reason why that's not as ideal, it might sound like it's an easy go. Trap is an end cap. Same with your scatter is an end cap. Same with your trap. So the second you trap or scatter someone and puts them on DR, so your freezing trap goes from a 7-second down to a 4-second or 3.5 seconds. It ends up being about even if you scatter trap them as just like a scatter trap equals like a full duration regular freezing trap. So I wouldn't recommend it, but if that's all you can do, you'll see me do that all the time. You know, but otherwise you ideally want to stun trap or, you know, slow trap. You know, if you're playing against something like a resto shaman or a priest, disc priest or holy priest, like resto shaman, if you go near them for a trap, it's so telling. They're gonna throw a grounding totem down and screw up your trap go. So what I'll do is I'll slow a resto shaman and I'll still kill my main target and stand next to the resto shaman, see grounding, kill grounding real fast, and then trap him out. Shadow Priest, same idea, or not Shadow Priest, Disc Priest, same idea. I'll get next to him, slow them, wait until I see Shadow Word Death on me, and then boom, trap after the death hits him again. And I'm kind of jumping around, but Binding Shot, when do I take that, if ever? Binding Shot, I definitely in solo shuffle will take if I'm running with a mage, because mages don't really have great stuns. A Frost Mage can have a stun, but that's it. It's a crappy one in my opinion. So I'll run Binding because I don't really want Polymorph, Trap, and Scatter to all DR. So I'll run Binding then. If I'm playing with the DK, sometimes I'll run Binding over Scatter just because he's going to break my Scatter no matter how hard I try. If I'm playing against a BM Hunter, I will be running Binding Shot most of the time. But their pets annoy the crap out of me. And I love BM and I play it myself, but they just annoy the crap out of me. So I will run Binding in that situation. The other time as well, Windwalker Monk, you could argue to run Binding, but I prefer Scatter in that situation. As of right now, as of making this video, Rejuvenating Winds is not something you typically take if you can. It's not bad. It's not like a mandatory option. Like Rejuvenating Winds, Binding Shackles, Hunter's Avoidance, and Pathfinding are kind of in that category of like, some take it, some don't. It's just kind of dealer's choice, in my opinion, in those those four right there. However, 10.07, Rejuvenating Winds is getting a giant buff. So not only will it heal you for 20% of your max health as a hot, it will also give you an additional 8% of your max health just standard as a passive. So I will be taking Rejuvenating Winds, and I think that'll be a must-have for hunters. All hunter specs come 10.07. Sentinel Owl is one that I've been playing a lot more with Marksman. That's been really fun to be able to throw Sentinel Owl down. Like, well, I can't, I mean, if I get it right now, it's not going to charge up very fast. But what I'll do is I'll usually take 1 point out of Mending, and I'll take, usually I won't run 2 points into Master Marksman. I'll take 2 points out of Pathfinding, go 1 Hunter's Avoidance. That way I can still get Seal Trap, get Explosive Shot, because I prefer it. You have 1 point left at that point. You can either throw it in Master Marksman or just throw it in Natural Mending. Kind of up to you. Master Marksman is a little bit more damage. But Sentinel Owl is just a really cool ability. It's basically Walmart version of Kyrian Arrow from Shadowlands, if you guys play Shadowlands. So I'm going to try to charge it up a little bit here. So the idea is when you get 5 stacks of this, which is 5 seconds, you'll be able to put this down, and if a target is in that area, you'll be able to shoot their walls, okay? Only if they stand in that area. If they stand out, you no longer get that. So I'm going to try to get it up and demonstrate real fast. So I also take Sentinel's Perception with this, which has been fun. If I'm playing with like a warrior or something, I might not run this, but this makes it so my party members will also get that unhindered, what is that called? Unhindered? Yeah, unhindered vision. So I should have this up in a second. So the idea is target's not line of sight. I can't hit this. I can't hit this. But what you can do is you can Sentinel Owl, and all of a sudden I can hit this guy. And I can, you know, well, only didn't last very long because I didn't have it up very long. Usually let it stack up a little more than 5. Usually at like 7 is when I use it, but you get the idea. It's super clutch in some situations. I don't think it's the best talent out there, but it's fun, and so I've been using that. Master Marksman is just flat damage. You won't take anything on this left side of the tree here. You won't take Beastmaster. You won't take Improved Kill Command. You won't take Alpha, Predator, or Killer Instinct as Marksman. I've seen some try it with kill command and they try to make this kill command build. It doesn't feel good to push. It's not very efficient damage wise. I don't recommend it. You can try it, but you're not gonna like it. It's just not fun. Steel Trap, in my opinion, this is a must for all hunter specs, to be honest. This is so good. Again, with that root, it really just stops melee. It does damage. I don't care about the damage. It just stops melee in the tracks. There are times where, like, if there's a pillar here, I'm chasing an enemy about to kill him, I will, like, you know, tar trap or steel trap the healer just so he can't get over to me, and I can just, like, kill behind the wall. Like, there's so many cool things you can do with that. Like, if a rogue is chasing you and he's really outranging their healer, you don't want to kill him because he's got evasion and stuff. Like, you could take him behind a pillar, steel trap him, just leave his ass there, and you know, boom, you're in the clear. So steel trap's great. Death Chakram, definitely a must. This really sets up your burst. So Death Chakram does a nice little dot damage, but it also makes it so you and your pet deal 10% more damage to that target, and it will bounce, so it can kind of be an AoE thing. The nice thing is it says for 10 seconds, but what people don't realize is it's 10 seconds per bounce, right? So if I pop this, you'll see a debuff. 10 seconds, right? But you see how that keeps refreshing with every time it's hit? So you not only have 10 seconds, you have a good amount longer than that. It's probably ends up being, if it's just one target you're hitting him on, it's probably ends up being like, you know, 14 seconds or so. So it's pretty solid there to have Death Chakram. This is where things get controversial. Okay. Arctic Bola. Okay. This is an ability, a passive that does damage and it slows and it looks great on paper, right? The idea that you can just slow your targets is beautiful. The problem with it is it breaks trap. Like, that's it. It breaks trap. It makes it so not fun to use. But I have to take it to take Explosive Shot, which I love Explosive Shot. Some marksmen don't take it. I love it. It's a 3-second delay. Boom, big damn. So you can really, you know, put that at the beginning of your burst and really tie that up with like an aim shot and do an arcane shot. They all land roughly at the same time. Big damage, you know. It's nice to run, especially with the build I'm running, where I am running Salvo. This is another quick thing, and I'm jumping around everywhere here, but just bear with me. What Salvo does is it makes my volley apply Explosive Shot. Okay. 10.05 also made this an ability, so you just need to macro this in if you are going to use it, which the macro is just /cast salvo /cast volley. That's all you got to do. So the idea is if you volley, it will float Explosive Shot on, but you can actually double that up, and it'll only show one explosive here, but you just saw one go off. Boom, 2 go off. I did no crits. I did 83k damage, right? That's also AoE. Also, Salvo shoots 2 explosive shots, so you can do crazy damage with that. It's a good burst. The reason why a lot of hunters aren't taking that at the moment, there's a couple different reasons. 1, Explosive Shot can break trap. That's one big thing. 2, some people find volley awkward to use. I don't, personally. And then 3, Arctic Bola. You have to take Arctic Bola to get Explosive Shot, and it's just a big yikes. Okay? So what if you don't take Arctic Bola? Like, what if you don't want to run this? Like, what you can do... just wish there's a way I could reset all cooldowns instantly. What you can do if you don't want to take Arctic Bola and you don't want to take Explosive Shot, this is a pretty solid setup too. And so what this looks like, and again, I'm still messing with the Sentinel Owl. You can definitely adjust that. But what I'm taking instead of Serpent Sting, which I don't cast too often, like I'll cast it in the beginning of the round, and I'll probably cast it on my kill target and an off target just so stacks can build up. But you really want to take it for poison injection. What this does is it makes it so Serpent Sting will apply this dot, or this stacking debuff, that makes it so your next aim shot will consume all the stacks and do big damn, okay? And so you'll see they're both at 8 stacks right now, so if I aim shot this guy, it'll hit him for, you know, hit him for 44k, and then latent poison hit him for whatever. What I can do is now, if I need to ever swap targets, he still has latent on him, I can instantly hit him as well, and latent did more damn. And so that's one option you can do, is just kind of, you know, keep latent up, which you can either do by manually casting Serpent Sting, or aim shot, which will cast a Serpent Sting with Serpent Stalker's Trickery. You can just kind of run that. I still would just at least try to dot everything up, or at least dot 2 targets up. That way, if you have to hard swap, like, you can just, you know, big damn. Oh, he bubbles. Let's swap to this guy. You know, and I have, you know, big damage on him too. And so, which it'll refresh the duration of it as well, which is nice. So you would take that. You wouldn't take Salvo and Volley, okay? You would actually go Lone Wolf, Now, that's where people are like, oh my god, lone wolf, I don't need a pet. You still take the pet. Only reason right now we have to take lone wolf with this is because we want hunter's knowledge, and you can't get it without taking lone wolf. So hunter's knowledge, aim shot and rapid fire crit chance increased by 10%. And so that's just all of your damage, right? 10% increased crit chance. Like, this build's pretty good. I personally don't think it's as good as the salvo explosive shot build. But again, I don't have to worry about anything breaking traps, which is kind of nice. So that's kind of the big changes with those two builds. If you don't want to run volley, you don't want to run salvo, would be a build you'd run. Chimera shot got a pretty big buff via 10.05. It's a trap, don't take it. It does slightly, I'm talking like 800 more damage on tooltip over arcane shot plus the second shot. The second shot can break traps. So again, breaking traps no bueno. We don't take that. Choice note here, you do want to take surging shots. Make sure rapid fire just do big damage. Rapid fire is honestly going to be most of your damage. So a big thing I see marksman hunters do is they really like to hit aim shot, right? Like, oh yeah, big aim shot, big aim shot. The problem is if you have a melee in your face, like a melee's on you, you're not going to just like let's say this is the warrior. You're not going to just sit here and just let him pound on you and hit aim shots, right? Instead, you can custom shot him. You're spamming arcanes, you're rapid firing, you're keeping concussive shot on him. Like, if you have enough space, you might be able to get an aim shot off, but you never want to be sitting in his face, letting him just wail on you while casting aim shot, okay? Unless you're about to get a kill. And so that's why, like, having rapid fire do 10% more crit damage is huge, because you're going to be using that a ton. And keeping your distance, keeping slows on him. You know, you might trap him a little bit. You know, if this is the off DPS, you might scatter him, get away, build distance. Then maybe when you're really far away, get an aim shot, arcane shot off real quick. But you're not sitting in his face casting aim shot. So Hunter's Knowledge is really good to kind of keep that. I mean, it does increase aim shot crit, but keeping that rapid fire crit's big too. Doing more damage on the go is always nice. Tactical Reload, I can't even look at this talent. This is what replaced double tap, and I won't make eye contact with it. It's okay. It's not anything special. You won't notice it. It takes 1 second off of aim shot, 2 seconds off rapid fire. You're not going to notice it. Bursting shot is an ability that drives me crazy that I don't see hunters use enough. Like, let's say this is the warrior, right? You've already used freedom. You've already used cheetah. You've already disengaged, and he's on you, okay? Like, you could scatter him, sure. But then, let's say you're slowed. You scatter him. You're still walking away. Oh, no, he's unscattered. He's right to you again, okay? You could root him. Again, you're slowed. You don't have anything. Like, one thing that I like to do, just bursting shot. Knock their ass away. Slow them. Put down a steel trap, like, you know, or tar trap. Like, knock them away and keep them going. You can knock them, and if it's a warrior, you know he's going to immediately charge you. You can knock him, feign death as charge so it doesn't root you and get out still. Like, there's so many things you can do. Use bursting shot. Absolutely utilize that. Bursting shot and concussive shot and trank shot are all three things I don't see marksman hunters using nearly enough. They need to be using those way more. The other thing I'll see hunters do too is with your mobility, like, oh, the biggest question I get asked is like, how do you, besides what pet to use, which I'll go over, is, oh, I'm getting trained. Like, how do you stop warriors from training you? You have so much mobility. Like, I know they have all the mobility in the world too, but like, let's say the warrior's right here. Okay. He has not charged me yet. So one thing I can do is I can concussive. Obviously, I'm going to be slowed. I can freedom myself and get some distance. Okay, let's say he charges me, right? I'm going to go back up here. Let's say he charges me, and now I'm rooted. You can disengage again. Okay, what if he charges you again? Now you have steel trap. Okay, you can waddle away. Or bursting shot, waddle away. Or tar trap, waddle away. Or even your other DPS might hit you for a second. You can scatter him for a second if you need to. There's been some cases where I'll go PvP talents here in a second too. There are some cases where I will literally Chimera Sting a warrior, which is a big waste because warriors can't get silenced, okay? But it reduces their movement by 90%. It silences them after that, who cares? And then reduces the damage they deal. So, I mean, there are times where I will Chimera a warrior if I have to, just to slow them, just to create distance. You have so much range as marksman, you do not want to be ever in their face. Like, you're so squishy. If you're in their face, you're dead, okay? So another thing too, lock and load, big. That just is a free way of getting aim shot. Just makes it so you have 8% chance while doing lighted or auto attacks that you will get an aim shot proc. Big damn there. The bottom right tree for the marksmanship tree is such a a missed opportunity. Wailing Arrow is basically an aim shot on a 1 minute cooldown. Doesn't do any damage. I wish it did. It does not silence in PvP. I repeat, it does not silence in PvP. Don't take it. I wish it did more. You could, I guess, take it with Readiness, and that would be like a decent little mini burst. I still don't recommend it. Bullseye, not worth. Legacy of the Windrunner and Windrunner's Guidance is such a cool effect, and I wish they'd buff it because that'd be such a cool playstyle. It's just not worth it. The proc rate on it is so bad that's just not worth. So that's just kind of like the basic overviews. So again, just quick recap. You have your Hunter's Knowledge build. That's what I call it because you're really focusing on getting Hunter's Knowledge. Taking Unerring Vision, even though it's nerfed, that's still way better than calling the shots in my opinion. Like you could run calling the shots if you run True Shot Mastery, but I've tried it. I don't like it. So you'd like run this Hunter's Knowledge build, and then ideally you'd run Serpent Sting with like latent poison injection. Or you would run the double explosive salvo build. Like you could mix and match, and you could run the salvo build with poison injection. But I feel like if you're already going volley salvo, you might as well throw the poison, the explosive shot on there too. To again go double explosive shot. They do stack. I want to repeat that they do stack, and then boom, one explosive shot. Then 2 seconds later, boom, the next explosive shot. So like that just did 130k damage to a single target, and that'd be doing AOE damage. So. I like it. It's awesome. I have fun with it. PvP talents. Man, I gotta speed this video up. PvP talents. So this is what you will take as marksman in, I'd say, like 85 to 90% of matchups. And honestly, if you left this as is, never touched it again, you'd be fine. Okay. Survival tactics. It feigns off magical dots, does not feign off spear, and it doesn't prevent negative effects. So if you get Aftlock dots on you, Shadow Priest dots on you, you'll still take the negative effects of dispelling those. But it also gives you a 90% damage wall for 1.5 seconds. So when you see a hunter do that and you'll see like a shield on their health bar, that's because it's a 90% damage wall for 1.5 seconds. That's big. Warrior charges you, feign death. Death mark, feign death. You can do so much with it to really reduce incoming burst. It's a must. I can't really think of a situation where I wouldn't take that, honestly. Hunters are so fragile that I think that's a must. Chimeral Sting, it's a 3-parter. It's a 90% slow for 3 seconds, and then after that, it's a 3-second silence, and then after that, it is a 3% damage and healing reduction for like 20%. So I take this in almost any matchup. Being able to have an extra silence, like a blanket for the healer, or use it on an off DPS, like a mage or a Shadow Priest or a Destro Lock, or even a DK, or just having that. There's just such a high skill cap of when you can use that. Like I love stun trapping a healer, and then after the trap's over with. I can hit him with the Chimeral Sting. Okay, then he's using like 1 or 2 globals to try to heal his team up, and boom, he's silenced again. And like that's such a long CC chain of just of them not being able to do anything. So I do recommend Chimeral Sting. Royal Sacrifice. This one is a really just clutch skill. So what this does, it applies to you or a friendly target for 12 seconds. That target cannot be crit. Okay, so Fire Mage pops Combustion. They can't be crit. Fire Mage hate that ability. So your pet has to be alive for it to work. And 10% of all damage taken from that target will be redirected from your pet. So make sure you mend pet. Keep your pet alive. That's a big thing as Marksman Hunter. To keep all Hunter specs, keep your pet alive. So other talents you could go. Instead of Chimeral Sting, this will be my flex spot. Because I will always run Survival Tactics and almost always run Royal Sacrifice. I might take off Chimeral Sting for Dragon Scale Armor if I'm going against like an Affliction Lock, Shadow Priest, something like that. True Shot Master you could run. I don't run it, but you could run it, especially with like calling the shots. You could do that. I don't. Solo Shuffles don't last long enough for that to get full value. And Coordinated 3s, you might get some value out of it if you're running with like a Sub-Rogue. But even with the Sub-Rogue, having a blanket's just so big. Ranger's Finesse, garbage. Don't worry about it. I've never taken this in my life. I've tried it. I don't think it's good. Sniper Shot, that's one that is actually surprisingly not terrible. I do not recommend new people using this. There's like very niche situations where I'll use it. It's only if there's like a Frost Mage. It's like against Wizard Cleaves, I don't hate it. But even then, like Chimeral is just gonna be better. Like if you're going the healer, no. I run Chimeral over Sniper Shot and 90% of games, 99.9% of games. Hunting Pack, I've only ever ran this in Shadowlands against Ret War, but you also had a aspect of the Cheetah Conduit. You could still run it, I guess, but I don't. Trank Darts, this is one I actually do run quite a bit against Resto Druids, against Preservation Evokers. This has a really interesting tooltip that really confuses a lot of people. And so basically what you need to know about this is if like I trank dart somebody and they have a bunch of hots on them, it'll remove a hot and then it'll reduce the remaining duration of the hots from them and targets around them. Now, not all of them, but 8, which ends up being a lot. But it will reduce the duration on the target and people around. So Resto Druids, that's big. And then, again, Preservation Evokers, that's big. Those are 2 that really value their hots. So that really can screw them over. I don't really run Wild Kingdom very much. Like, if you know they're going to target your pet, like in Solo Shuffle, if they've been targeting your pet all day, like, you could run it. I have to put it away, my Spirit Beast, otherwise it... Well, I'm not even going to show you. So all it will do... I have a Spirit Beast on me right now, so it is buggy. But all this talent does is it'll dismiss my current pet immediately and summon a Tenacity pet or one of your other pets from your group for 10 seconds. And it'll also completely heal your off pet. So I can Freedom myself, and then I could Wild Kingdom, and then I would have Aspect of the Bear, or Fortitude of the Bear rather. So that's like good against like if you're playing against maybe a row. That's good if they're really training your pet. Would be my big thing there. I don't really run it. Interlope, nope, don't run. It's cool and it has like a high skill ceiling, especially against like Destrolocks with like when like 8.3 was around and you just had to line the bolt. Like Interlope was kind of cool, but not worth. Diamond Ice is another one where it's kind of a weird one. So Diamond Ice, it makes your 7-second freezing trap into a 5-second freezing trap. I don't really like this because with the whatever this stuff is, the trinket bonus reduces CC by 15 seconds, so it ends up being like a 4-second trap instead of a 7-second trap. I prefer regular trap over this. The only time you'd run this is against an Aflock maybe, or a Shadow Priest, or a Demo Lock. Or sorry, not a Demo Lock, or a DH. So you don't have to worry about Imp Dispel, Mass Dispel, or reverse. But honestly, what I'll do is like let's say this is the healer, okay, and then let's say this is like a DH, okay. So I'll stun healer, I will scatter, and then trap, okay, and that covers them to the point where they can't. If it's a DH, I might scatter after I trap, but if it's a Shadow Priest, I'll scatter insta because they'll just Mass Dispel me. So I don't really worry about running Diamond Ice. The only time I run it is if I'm running with a DK, because a DK is just inevitably going to break all of your traps no matter what. Especially since the DK is gripping the healer and then blinding sleep them. So having that non-breakable trap there is kind of okay, but otherwise I would not run it. So again, you're going to be running Sack, you're going to be running Chimeral Sting, you're going to be running Survival Tactics. So for PvP. Okay, so let's talk about stat priority. That's one that is an interesting topic for sure. So what you'll see most marksman hunters do is they run just a crazy haste build, which I'm actually not even in my PvP build right now. Crazy haste build, which means, you know, the thought process is it really just affects your aim shots cast time. I don't think it really does all that much. Like, I think haste is just a comfort pick, and also all 300 specs, the other 2 primarily benefit a lot from haste, like survival and BM. So a lot of hunters playing all 3 specs would have geared for like haste, like a haste mastery combo, which is what I did. But as the season progresses, now that Conquest is uncapped, I don't know if marksmen are going to still take haste as much. Like, I think mastery scale is so much better, and I can show you what I mean. So mastery, I don't care about the range that increases it by, the damage though. So I have 12% mastery right now, which is not a lot. And that's 25.8% damage, okay? But if I swap to my BM PvP set, where I go from 12%, okay, to 9%. So I was at 25.8. Now I'm at 20.6. That's 5% damage increase just by that little bit of mastery. I think I have the same haste in both 15 and 14. Okay, so we can compare. So aim shot is a 2.2 second cast time with 15% haste, 2500 haste. And if I drop it's not a lot. If I drop a little bit of haste, 100 haste, it's still a 2.2 second cast time. So I don't think haste is that valuable for marksman, to be completely honest. I still am running it, and it feels good to have haste. Like, so everything just feels faster, and that part is nice. I do think mastery and crit are going to be a better stat overall. However, I think it's just kind of up to you what you like to run. Like, I'm still running haste. I'm gonna, now that Conquest is uncapped, I'm really gonna gravitate towards a heavy mastery build to see if I like that. But I mean, I'm not the greatest PvPer ever, but I'm 2800 stacking a lot of haste to mastery. So I don't think it's like that important, but that is a thing. That kind of leads me into tier set. Okay, and this is again conquest cap. Being uncapped will make it so I can explore a lot more with things. But right now, like, do you run 4 2-piece? Well, all you could really afford is to run the 4-piece. Once you got it, like, you couldn't really buy other pieces, or at least I couldn't. I don't think the 4-piece for marksman is really that great. Like, BM and survivals is way better. I'm gonna try in the next week or two to drop down to 2-piece and get more mastery and see how I feel about things. I think if you run the 4-piece, it's like not bad. Like, you're not gonna just instant lose games with it, but I don't think it's necessarily the best. 2-piece for sure run it, but 4-piece, I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth or not. I've been running it again 2800 with it, like, and still playing well with it, but I don't know if it's really worth over just having increased mastery / haste / crit, whatever you want to run. So that's kind of where I'm at with the whole tier set. And then as far as enchants are concerned, how do I not have a golded out version of that? That's funny. High intensity thermal scanner. I think it gives you your primary stat, or I know it like gives me mastery when I get it. It's like 1600 mastery whenever that procs. So I run that. You can either run waking stats, which just gives you 150 primary stat, or accelerated agility, which will give you like 120 plus speed. I'm getting speed from a lot of other things, so I'm running waking stats. For gems and stuff, it's kind of up to you. I mean, you want to make sure you're getting a good amount of versatility. Like, you want to get to close to 30 as possible. I'm running a little lower than 30 right now. So with that being said, I am running like mastery haste kind of setup. Again, I play all 300 specs, so I'm kind of leaning towards that. But ideally, that'd be like versatility mastery there. I run the speed on the back, and then speed on the bracers, and then rings. I just have versatility right now. When I get more verse by dropping down to 2-piece, I might swap them to mastery. I'm not sure. And then trinkets, kind of up to you. I really just like the auto proc one. Having that up is, I think, way more convenient than trying to time out a burst. Just having more consistent damage as marksman has been kind of the play for me. You could run the other trinket if you want, but I think most run this one as well. Okay, so that's stats. That's gear. That's everything. Now we talk about pets. So this is the second most asked question I get. What pet do I run? What pet do I run? What pet do I run? www.pettopia.com is insanely good. Actually, let me make sure that's Pettopia, not like WoW Pettopia. I think it's Pettopia. It's going to be awkward if I got that right. Oh my gosh, I lied to you. Yeah. It's wow-pettopia.com. So wow, and I'll put that in the description. That shows every pet, family, different models, everything like that. But the idea is you want to have, there's tenacity, cunning, and ferocity. You want to have a cunning pet. Cunning pet with mortal wounds. Okay, what mortal wounds does is it puts a healing debuff. This is 50. I'm pretty sure it's 25 in PvP, but it's a healing debuff. This won't stack with warriors and stuff, but having mortal wounds on the target is so clutch to have. So having a healing debuff is a must. So you can run an undead raptor or a live raptor or a rodent, and I think there's other ones as well you could run. I don't remember off the top of my head which other ones. I don't think it's monkeys. It's not foxes. I think it's raptors and rodents for sure. It's not hounds. But those are the for sure as raptors and rodents. I run an undead pet. In Shadowlands, that was a big deal. That's when it kind of became a thing. Undead pet, the perks are they can't get polyed, they can't get hibernated, they can't get scare beasted from hunters, they cannot get sapped from rogues. The negatives are they can get what's that priest ability called? Binding shackles. They can get stunned from Ret Paladin's Wake of Ashes. So against a Ret Paladin, I won't run undead pet. But otherwise, I run undead raptor pet. I'm also an undead, so it just kind of fits. You can run a live raptor, that's fine. So an undead raptor. I also would have a live raptor or a rodent with you. And then really the only other major pet you should have would be a tank pet, tenacity pet. You can use that as a lizard, a river beast, or a hydra. And this is the same idea, has mortal wounds, and it also gives you fortitude of the bear, which increases your health and your pet's health by 20% for 10 seconds. So it's just, my health goes from 399 to 479, okay? That's pretty big, and you can use that while stunned. So against the sub rogue, I will always run this. Against things I don't need a freedom for, I will run that. But really against like RMP, that's a must. That is a must. I'm not dealing with rogues without having that. But you could just run a raptor every game, all game, and be fine. Raptor gives you freedom, which you can use on a friendly target as well. I can't use it on that thing. But what this does is it removes all movement and pairing effects from itself and its allies for 4 seconds. So you get slowed by a warrior, you can freedom cheetah, and you're out of there. Okay. So freedom is huge. That's on a 30 or 45-second cooldown. That's a must. The last pet you could run would be having a, like, I think it's a bird of prey, ferocity pet. So ferocity will give you predator's leech, 10% leech. A cunning pet will give you movement speed, and a tenacity pet will give you additional health. So this will give you 10% leech. It'll also give you access to primal rage, bloodlust, right? That's so great. I can bloodlust. You cannot, and I repeat this, you cannot bloodlust in arenas unless you're a BM hunter running kindred beasts, and even then it's like a reduced thing. So even though you can push this button in arenas, it does not do anything. So I run this against like Afflocks just so my pet has a little bit more health to itself. Just dropping bars. Otherwise, 90% of the time, Raptor, have a tenacity pet against rogues. Is the main thing there. And then we talked about everything. I guess the last thing I have for you is races. So races, Alliance races are going to be the best. So your number one race, in my opinion, for a rank 1 player, you're going to be looking at Night Elf. I bring in a rank 1 player because I do believe metas do shift a little bit between rank 1, like 2400, 2100, 18. Like, I feel like metas do shift personally. So rank 1 players, Night Elf. Night Elf is insane. Shadow Meld is insane. You can meld bolts, you can meld CC, you can meld anything. Like, it's just crazy how good that is. And you can meld and then instantly get a camo off of that. Like, it's actually nuts what you can do with meld. So meld's great. I'd say human is next. Human's amazing because it gives you will to survive, or it's will to survive is what they call that now, I believe. Basically, it's a 3-minute stun break. Okay, why that's important is because as a hunter, if you think about it, what do you really need to trinket as a hunter? 95% of the time when you trinket, it's a stun. Okay, you don't really trinket fears because you can get that dispelled. Everything else for the most part is dispellable. Your healer could get you on those. The only caveat, and I did play human for a while, is like if you're feared and then like the priest is casting mind games and you breaking free out of that fear to kick mind games is going to save the game, you could run, trinket there. So that's where like human might not be great, because as human, since you have the will to survive or whatever it's called, you don't need to run this trinket. You'd be able to run double damage, or what I like to do is run damage and battle master, which is essentially another little mini heal, which is so big for hunters since we're so squishy. Dark Iron Dwarf would be third. Getting rid of bleeds, especially in this meta with Feral Druids just one-shotting people, even after damage nerfs. Feral Druids are insane. Assassination Rogue, which is a giant problem with Death Mark and just doing so much damage. Being able to get rid of all those bleeds is so big. And then on Horde side, if you do want to run Horde, Orc is your number 1 bet. Like Goblin's cool, like Gnome and Void Elf are cool on the human side, like regular Dwarf's alright, like Troll's okay maybe, like Panda's okay maybe, like Undead's okay maybe, but really it's going to be Night Elf, Human, Dark Iron Dwarf, Orc. Tauren could be cool, extra health, a little stun as well maybe. If you're not a rank 1 player, I mentioned rank 1's Night Elf. If you're not running rank 1, you might not get the most value out of Shadow Meld, so I do recommend maybe Human. Human's just a really good safe bet. Dark Iron Dwarf is also a really good safe bet, but that'd be it for races. So as really far as gameplay is concerned, like your main thing as a hunter is you want to live, which is hard because your defensives, you have Feign Death, you have Wall, you have Turtle, you have Exhilarate, and you have Roar Sacrifice, right? After that, it's just mobility. So your main thing is you want to create distance, so keeping concussive shot on the target, slowing down warriors with rooting them, slowing them, scattering them if you need to. And then the other big thing is getting your stun trap goes on healers. Or I say stun trap goes, but trapping the healer is big. So stunning and then trapping. Like that's huge, okay? If you don't have stun, we've already been over that, how you could trap later with either concussive shot or slows. There have been times, because every hunter will miss a trap, there are times where I miss a trap. I get slow, like let's say the trap's over here, okay? Like, oh no, I missed it, right? I could slow the healer, and I could go behind, like next to the healer and bursting shot them, and they will like skyrocket through the trap and get trapped. Like you can do things like that. The big thing on living though, like with and I'm jumping around again, but the big thing with living, like when you have warriors and stuff on you, don't overuse, okay? So the worst thing you can do is like sack, wall, feign, and turtle at the same time. Or like freedom, cheetah, and disengage all in the same global. Like you don't want to overuse. You ideally want to space it out. Really keep as much space as you can. If you have a warrior or like a DK on you, right? Like let's say he's coming at you. Let's say his healer is my tar trap, right? He's coming at you. Let's say my healer is my freezing trap. Okay. Okay, so tar trap's their healer. Freezing trap's my healer. If I have this warrior who's coming like to get me, I could kite him back and pull him back to the point where he's ranging his healer, or better yet, like lining his healer, making sure I know where my healer is. Never bring a melee to your healer. That's bad. But, you know, pulling them away from their healer is awesome. And they have their horse blinders up. They have the Zug Zug. They're holding down W. They will chase you oftentimes. You can try to kill them behind pillars and stuff like that. Or bring them away from your healer. If nothing else, that makes it so either the warrior has to commit to you and line his healer, or if he has to fall back, which means you're not taking damage. And if he does commit to you, his healer is going to be out in the open, which means your healer and your other DPS can just like CC that guy for days. Okay. Just making sure you're not overusing, making sure you're getting the trap goes, and pay attention to where your healer is at all times. Just knowing where that guy is. The biggest thing I see hunters do is like, okay, I have mobility. Let me just line of sight my healer. Why am I just getting storm bolted behind a pillar and dying? It's because you're line of sighting your healer. You know, pay attention to that. Really the biggest thing is just watching gameplay, getting an idea of what other hunters do. Shout out to some just insane hunters. Doesn't matter if they're marksman, BM, or survival. A lot of the core mechanics of living, trapping, everything will be the same for the most part. Watch Big Bex, the best survival hunter out there for sure. He's cracked. He's insane at the game. Watching him on stream, watching Jelly Beans when he streams. He's awesome. He plays a lot of solo shuffle. Dilly when he streams, SSDS. Those are Simbergrove. Those are kind of my main hunters I'd recommend watching. I do stream as well, twitch.tv/darkshadytv, but those guys are all way better than I will ever be. And so watching those guys, learning from those guys is big. As far as situations are concerned, you're just gonna have to watch and learn that way. I'm sure I missed a lot in this video. I guess one last thing I want to go over real quick. I won't go over really macros. A couple weak auras I want to go over real fast. I know this video is already probably at an hour, I would guess, or very close to it. 42 minutes. That's way better than my last one. Okay, weak auras. This is the last one I'll have. This one I kind of made myself. And so what this is, I actually grabbed it from another weak aura, but I've adjusted it. What this does is there's like a tank dummy here. There's not. That's annoying. Okay. What this does is it alerts me when my pet's health. So you'll see. Actually, can I just slash WA? Okay. Well, you'll see it right here. This wolf icon. That's where my pet health. That will pop up when my pet's health drops below 60, and it will alert a. I have it set to a wolf howl. So I'll hear a wolf howl when he drops below 60, and then when he drops below 30% health, I'll hear like a bear sound. Okay, I have that because your pet dying is such a bad feeling, especially like feral druids will just accidentally one-shot it. Your pet's just so fragile; it'll die to everything. So being able to have a couple things keybound where you can control your pet. So like I have pet attack macros on some of my abilities. Like when I arcane shot, my pet will attack. I also have it so when I mouse wheel down, my pet comes back. When I mouse wheel forward, my pet. So when I mouse wheel back, my pet will come back to me. When I mouse wheel forward, my pet will attack. Okay. Keeping men pet up on your target or your pet's huge. A couple other things I have is if I click mouse wheel, I can send my pet over here. These are just my keybinds. Oops. So he will go over here. That's important for a lot of different reasons. Mainly if your pet's just getting trained, you can send him away. Okay. Let him heal. Let him do his thing. You can also feign death him, which I think you buy this at the Hunter Lodge, but make sure you get this because this is so helpful. So letting my pet heal. The other thing is, so click mouse wheel to move him. I have shift mouse wheel to bring him back. So again, able to control your pet. Make him attack. Make him come back. Make him move. If he listens. Make him come back. Hit this guy. I want him to hit this guy. You just having control is so big. And again, pull him back when you're done. Keeping him alive. That weak aura is big. I have a couple other weak auras which I won't really go over. that much. Death mark. This is just a simple death mark one. Lets me know who's getting death mark to win. I also have healer CC. I do recommend getting this. It'll play like this sonar sound when my healer CC'd. That's so big. You don't want to overlap your cooldowns. Like, do not turtle if your healer just spirit linked you with, or is pop paint step on your barrier. If they're CC'd, that'll give you an indication of, hey, he's CC'd. I probably should do something here, right? And then I also have externals on me, which is just a personal preference where it'll tell me anytime a healer sacks me, freedoms me, bops me, anything, any of these things, it'll pop up. I think it'll even do it with my own sack. Yeah. So I now know that I have sack on me. That I won't like overuse, right? So that's really it for those weak auras. You can use a lot more weak auras. There's tons of them out there. I really won't get into much more of that. And then macros, I just have a stun trap macro and a stun kick macro. That's pretty, or a focus kick macro. I don't do party 1, 2, 3 macros. I don't like them. Pros use them. You probably should use them. I don't like them. They're better if you do use them, but I don't like them. So, but that's probably going to be it. I've said that 4 times now. I'm guaranteeing I'm missing things. Thank you guys really, again, for watching. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If there's things you want to see more of, if you want to see more gameplay, again, follow me on Twitch or follow any of those other hunters on Twitch. I'm always down to ask questions. If you want to see specific videos, BM guides, survival guides, gameplay, whether that's solo shuffle, 3s, 2s, battlegrounds, anything like that, just world PvP, let me know in the comments. I'm down to do whatever. I love playing Hunter and pretty much only Hunter. So again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.